is a plan that took months and weeks of positioning and preparation so that we could be ready when the President of the United States called. It took a great deal of precision. It involved misdirection and the highest of operational security. Our B-2s went in and out of downtown Tehran, of these nuclear sites, in and out and back without the world knowing at all. In that way, it was historic. A strike that included the longest B-2 Spirit bomber mission since 2001 and the first operational employment of the MOP, a massive ordnance penetrator. The mission demonstrated to the world the level of joint and allied integration that speak to the strength of our alliance and our joint forces.
Donald Trump just took the most dangerous and disturbing step yet in his illegal escalation of war with Iran and a Truth Social post that not only exposes his lies, not only is idiotic and misspelled, but directly turns on and contradicts Pete Hegseth and the insane statement that he just made. We are going to get into this very disturbing breaking news. But first, I want to start with what Senator Tim Kaine had to say today, which I think is the most important context of what Donald Trump just lied about.
Look, America was lied into a war in 2002 against Iraq with a Republican administration giving us false information about Iraq's weapons program. I have grave concern that we're going down the same path. Donald Trump's own national security officials have stated that Iran was not close to having a nuclear weapon. And Shannon, just Friday night, the Israeli foreign minister said that its bombing campaign over the last 9 days had set back the Iranian nuclear program by at least 2 or 3 years. There was no imminent threat to the United States from this nuclear program. It was an offensive war of choice by a president without consultation with Congress. We're going to have the briefing this week. We'll have a vote. I know many Republicans will fall in line and say a president can do whatever he wants, but I hope members of the Senate and the House will take their Article I responsibility seriously and say, you didn't even notify us, much less get an authorization. The U.S. should not be at war without a vote of Congress. There is no congressional authorization for Trump's war against Iran. And I have filed a resolution that I think will get a vote later this week. I thank Senator Schumer for pushing that we have a vote on this as soon as possible. And we will have all members of the Senate have to declare whether or not the U.S. should be at war with Iran. It's unconstitutional for a president to initiate a war like this without Congress. Every member of Congress needs to vote on this.
We are being lied to. Right now, not only is Donald Trump's attack on Iran illegal because he bypassed Congress being the dictator on day one that he promised he would be, but it's important why he's bypassing Congress. It's not because he thinks that he needs to act immediately and in the interest of our safety protecting the American people, as Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance claim no. It's because he doesn't have the evidence, the intelligence to back up the claims that he's making. It's the reason he is acting as dictator Donald. And it is incredibly scary, especially when the lies being pushed by J.D. Vance, but most importantly, directly from Pete Hegseth today this morning, were just contradicted by the insane post Trump just made. And we can see those lies from the two of them right here before we check out that post.
Sunday. My first question, Mr. Vice President, is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, Kristen, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. And let me just say, Kristen, that we're incredibly grateful and proud of the American Air Force pilots who did an incredible job last night. The operation was really extraordinary. These guys flew from Missouri. They didn't land a single time. They dropped 30,000-pound bombs on a target the size of a washing machine and then got back home safely without ever landing in the Middle East or ever stopping other than to briefly refuel. And of course, they did that in the air. So it's really an incredible operation, a testament to the power of American military. And I think what shows what can happen when you have that great American military in the hands of capable presidential leadership. What we did is we destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. I think we set that program back substantially, and we did it without endangering the lives of the American pilots. That's an incredible thing, and I think we all should be proud. Whatever our politics, we should be proud of what these guys accomplished. A very, very high impact mission under a lot of pressure.
Mr. Vice President, let's talk about what happens next. President Trump posted on social media, quote, "Any retaliation by Iran will be met with force greater than what was witnessed tonight." If Iran retaliates against the U.S., as it is threatening, what will the United States response be?
Well, Krista, that's ultimately going to be the president's decision. But what we've said to the Iranians is we do not want war with Iran. We actually want peace. But we want peace in the context of them not having a nuclear weapons program. And that's exactly what the president accomplished last night. I really think there are two big questions for the Iranians here. Are they going to attack American troops, or are they going to continue with their nuclear weapons program? And if they leave American troops out of it and they decide to give up their nuclear weapons program once and for all, then I think the president has been very clear. We can have a good relationship with the Iranians. We can have a peaceful situation in that region of the world. We have to step back a little bit, Kristen, and remind ourselves that we negotiated aggressively with the Iranians to try to find a peaceful settlement to this conflict. It was only when the president decided that the Iranians were not negotiating in good faith that he took this action. He didn't take it lightly, but I actually think it provides an opportunity to reset this relationship, reset these negotiations, and get us in a place where Iran can decide not to be a threat to its neighbors, not to be a threat to the United States. And if they're willing to do that, the United States is all ears.
So is regime change off the table, Mr. Secretary? And to the chairman, you said the battle damage assessment is still ongoing, but do you believe that some nuclear capability in Iran remains?
This mission was not and has not been about regime change. The president authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
J.D. Vance is telling us that this conflict will not escalate. This was a single military action. This was a solo operation. It is a one and done. Pete Hegseth says that there's no interest in regime change from the Trump administration. That is his position as our Secretary of Defense. We're not interested in regime change. Well, what did Donald Trump just post? I think you can guess Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change, make Iran great again? Trump also followed that up with this misspelled nonsense. The great B-2 pilots just landed safely in Missouri. Thank you for a job well done, Don J. Trump. President of the United States, the man can't spell correctly, and he's our commander-in-chief right now. Does anyone feel comfortable? I'm surprised we didn't see Pete Hegseth celebrating with photos of him doing a keg stand last night. I expected to see them coming. This is an incredibly scary moment. And we have the most unserious people taking the most unjustifiable and illegal steps. Why? Because Donald Trump thinks this will boost his approval rate. But what he didn't expect is Marjorie Taylor, Greene, Tucker, Carlson, Alex Jones, the people who are the MAGA diehards turning on him for this lie. It is not just Democrats speaking out about what Trump is doing. While that is important, we're also seeing MAGA turn on Trump now. Of course, they're more concerned with the promise being broken, but it is just as important to talk about the laws that were broken. And that is exactly what Adam Schiff called out in this clip right here.
Senator, so glad to have you on the program. Obviously, the president authorized these strikes again against Iran last night. He says that they have been successful. Do you see any upside, any positive news for the security of the world in learning of the success of these strikes?
First of all, Casey, I want to express my gratitude that the pilots are all out safely and acknowledge the skill, the bravery, and the professionalism of all the military forces that were engaged in this military operation. But it's not an operation that should have ever been authorized by the president in the absence of intelligence showing that Iran had made the decision to break out and build a bomb. The intelligence I've seen, and it's been limited, indicates that Iran had certainly enriched uranium but had not made the decision to build a bomb or pursue the mechanism of a bomb. And in the absence of that, this is not a strike that should have been ordered. In watching Hegseth during that press conference this morning, we saw a lot of arrogance from the defense secretary. And as wars in the Middle East have demonstrated, arrogance is a deadly commodity. We simply don't know what is going to occur now, whether Iran will retaliate, whether Iran was able to evacuate some of the enriched material from Fordo. There were commercial satellite images of trucks lined up at Fordo and leaving Fordo in the days preceding the strike. So a lot of questions, including the risk to American service members. In terms of, is there anything positive to come out of it? Yes. I mean, the destruction of these facilities is a positive in the sense that it will set back Iran's program. And look, this is a nefarious regime that is the preeminent state sponsor of terror. It should have never been pursuing a nuclear program. But it is very possible, and I think we have to anticipate, Iran now kicks out any inspectors, it leaves the non-proliferation treaty, and if it wasn't in a sprint for a bomb, it is now going to engage in a sprint for the bomb. So a lot of uncertainty. Finally, this was not constitutional, was not lawful in the absence of a declaration by Congress. And so the administration should have come to Congress. We will have a vote on a war powers resolution. But there's a reason to bring this to Congress, and it is you want the Congress bought in. You want the American people bought in on an action this substantial that could lead to a major outbreak of war.
So just to put a finer point on it, do you think the world is less safe this morning than it was yesterday?
I don't think, to be honest, Casey, there's any way for us to know. Anyone who says they can see into the future and what the Iranian response will be, whether it will claim American lives, or whether there will be some change in the Iranian regime or new opening, a new opportunity, we simply don't know. We simply don't know. And I think because of that uncertainty, you don't want to take an action like this without a strong basis, that is, that Iran was imminently pursuing a bomb. And we simply don't have that intelligence, or if we do, it hasn't been shared with the Congress. And that last question asked of Hegseth at the press conference indicates he doesn't know either. He was asked, do we have some new intelligence? Is it our own intelligence? Or are we relying on Israeli intelligence for the conclusion that we had to take this strike now? And he simply said, well, the president looked at everything. That's really not an answer, but we will demand answers this week when we're briefed. In the absence of it, though, and not knowing what the future will bring and the consequences, this is an order that should not have been given.
So speaking of the constitutionality, legality of this, the reality, of course, Congress currently controlled by Republicans entirely. One of your congressional colleagues, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, wrote on the platform X last night that what the president did is, quote, absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment. Given the limited tools available to Democrats in Congress, do you think impeachment is the right move here?
We've seen what a high bar there is to impeachment when one party in Congress, the Republican Party, is willing to work completely in lockstep with the president. I think the better remedy, frankly, is if Republicans will show any backbone whatsoever, is to pass a war powers resolution to prevent any further military action that is not purely defensive, that is designed to protect service members' lives, American lives, and our interests. That, to me, ought to be the most immediate step.
We need to hammer home how dangerous the steps being taken by Donald Trump are right now and use it as a broader framework to explain the illegal actions he has taken throughout the beginning of his presidency to serve himself and to serve his hacky billionaire friends. That is the message that we have to deliver, because Republicans couldn't be more unpopular in this moment. Let's speak to what we know is true, that Donald Trump is always working for himself, and he doesn't care if he puts you in danger doing. So we're going to be calling it out every single day on this new show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.